Good morning. We are now on the video record. The time is 9:04 a.m.
Today is Tuesday, the 26th day of July, 2016. We're at 444 Sea Breeze Avenue, Suite 433, Daytona Beach, Florida, for the purpose of taking the video deposition of Sergeant Ronald McCroskey, taken by plaintiffs in case number 614 CV 00536 ORL 22DAB, the case of Aviana Bailey et al. Versus Chief Michael Chitwood et al., filed in the U.S. District Court, Middle District, Orlando Division. The court reporter is Paula Ross of U.S. Legal Support, and the videographer is George Altavaro of U.S. Legal Support. Would all counsel please state their appearances?
John Phillips for the plaintiffs.
Bruce Bogan for the defendants.
Sir, would you raise your right hand and be sworn? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you.
Please state your full name for the record.
Ronald McCroskey.
Is it Sergeant McCroskey?
Yes, it is.
Okay, Sergeant. How long have you been Sergeant?
12, 13 years.
Okay. My name's John Phillips, and I represent the plaintiffs in this matter. I'm going to be taking your deposition. We should be fairly quick. Have you had your deposition taken before?
Yes.
I assume you kind of know the ground rules. We're dealing with a written record. Try to answer in complete sentences. Let's take turns. Avoid the uh-huhs and uh-uhs. That whole deal?
Okay.
Okay. Where are you currently employed?
Volusia County Sheriff's Office.
How long have you been employed there?
28 years.
What is your current scope or occupation with Volusia County Sheriff's Office?
I'm a supervisor of the Daytona Beach International Airport.
How were you employed April 28 of 2012?
I was a supervisor at Daytona Beach International Airport.
Okay. Has anything changed?
No.
What does a supervisor of Daytona Beach International Airport do?
I am responsible for supervising of my men, and we handle the terminal and sometimes out into the parking lots and around basic security of the whole entire airport.
Okay. What other law enforcement is stationed at the airport?
We're it.
Okay. Do they have TSA there?
Yes.
Okay, then they work, I guess, interior security.
They
or
work
pass
at the
through?
checkpoint.
Okay. Anybody else, as far as law enforcement, have jurisdiction there?
Daytona Beach PD has jurisdiction. We're within the city limits, but we maintain security inside the airport.
Okay. Help me understand that jurisdiction, I guess, is as best as you can with what Volusia County's role is with the airport versus Daytona Beach.
Check to form. Go ahead.
Volusia County is contracted by the airport to provide security at the airport. The airport itself is in the city of Daytona Beach.
Thus, this Daytona Beach would be able to respond.
Yes.
Okay. I assume you work a full-time job, meaning 40 plus hours a week for Volusia County.
Yes.
And of those 40 hours, how many do you spend at the airport?
All of them?
Okay. Do you have a desk?
Yes.
Where's that?
That's at the airport.
Okay. How many officers do you currently supervise at the airport?
4.
How many officers are, again, I guess it might depend on nights and weekends and how busy the airport is, and it probably waxes and wanes, but how many officers from Volusia County work at the airport full-time at any given time? Kind of give me a fewest amount to most amount, however you can describe it.
The hours of my officers are, I have 2 that work 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. I have 2 that come on at 6 p.m. to work till 6 a.m.
Okay.
And then I do a split shift.
Okay. And what about weekends?
Same.
Okay. And was that similar to what the shifts and all would have been in April of 2012?
I believe so, but at one time we had 1 deputy at night, and I can't remember if 2012 had 1 deputy and a supervisor till midnight. I don't remember when the hours changed.
Okay. This would have occurred according to our information about 2028 on Saturday, April 28, 2012. I guess, were you working at that time?
Yes.
Okay. And who else was working with you, if anyone that you recall? or can-
Deputy Register.
Okay. Have you refreshed your recollection with your incident report?
Yes.
Okay. Please let me know when you're dealing with refreshed recollection or independent recollection. That said, do you have an independent recollection of these events?
Yes.
Tell me your independent recollection. Tell me what you recall.
We were working at the airport. Call came out, reference to an individual playing with a gun in the parking lot. No exact location. Deputy Register was upstairs. I started walking the parking lots. I started in the rental area. And then I left the rental area and I started into the main short-term parking lot. And that's when I noticed the vehicle.
Okay. I assume dispatch gave you some information about a vehicle.
Yes.
What information did they give you?
They called it like a goldish Lincoln,
Okay. And what kind of vehicle did you see?
a silver Lincoln.
Okay. What is the law, as you're aware or were aware at the time, I guess, with playing with or exposing a firearm in a airport parking lot?
Check to form.
If we would have had a victim that showed the weapon, we would have had a more serious crime. But because somebody had a weapon on airport property, it is of major concern because it is an airport and it is a weapon.
Okay. Even in a parking lot?
Even in the parking lot. Nowhere on airport property, even your concealed weapons permit's not allowed on airport property.
Okay. So if I'm catching a flight to, wherever out of Daytona Beach International Airport, am I allowed to have a weapon in my glove box?
If I don't know it's there, you can have your weapon in a glove box. If we're aware of it, we do not want weapons on airport property.
And I understand, and I'm trying to. I don't want to be subjective where I'm trying to get one by. I want to know as a citizen whether it's against the law to have a weapon in your vehicle at Daytona Beach International Airport, as far as you're aware.
No.
Do you know what the municipal or state statute or federal statute would be regarding that?
No.
Your report, do you know who wrote this report?
I did.
There's in box 1 a statute violation number. What's listed?
Whole bunch of sevens.
Is that a state statute?
No.
Is that a municipal statute?
No.
Is that a federal statute?
No.
Why is,
That's a code that we put in there for police information report.
okay. Where did that code come from?
Whoever set up our report program put it in there.
Okay. $11 sevens. I know.
You count. 1, 2. Looks like. Yes.
Okay. Under what box is that?
Box number 1.
What does it say?
Event data, offense.
And what's that particular box say?
I can't really read it. Something violation number.
Statute.
Statute violation number.
Okay. Do you know how this call originally came into dispatch?
No.
Have you heard anything since this incident about how a call came into dispatch or the contents of that call?
No.
Okay. Related to dispatch, how would a call like this come to you? Through
Through the radio.
Through the radio, kind of like what you're wearing today?
Yes, sir.
And the dispatch here regionally, I assume that's a dispatch that goes out to law enforcement broader than Volusia County Sheriff's Office?
Check to
Or
form.
is it specific to Volusia County Sheriff's Office?
We have assigned channels. Daytona has assigned channels. We have assigned channels. Daytona can listen to our channels. We can listen to Daytona channels.
Okay. Do you know who this call was dispatched to?
I believe it was dispatched to us and Daytona PD.
Okay. And do you recall the specific contents of that dispatch?
No.
To some extent, it was somebody playing with a gun in an airport parking lot.
Yes.
Do you recall whether, although the color of the vehicle was different, do you recall whether the individuals inside that vehicle were described?
I believe the description was
Objective form, go ahead.
I believe the description was a black male playing with a gun.
Okay. So tell me about, I believe you said that there was a description of the dispatch said a gold Lincoln. You saw a silver Lincoln? Is that fair?
Yes.
Tell me about what happened once you saw the Lincoln.
I was walking in the parking lot. I saw a silver Lincoln backing out with the lighting in the parking lot. Color was off because of the lighting. Lincoln starts approaching me. I motion for the Lincoln to stop. It starts slowing down. I look as he clears the lights and I can see in, I see what I believed at the time to be a black male. It was darker skinned male. We made eye contact. I started drawing my duty weapon. He took off.
Okay. Why did you draw your duty weapon?
We had a description of a male playing with a gun. I draw my weapon until I believe I'm safe.
Okay. Was the vehicle when you said it backed out first of a parking space?
Yes,
is that correct? Was there anything abnormal about the way it was backing?
No, sir.
Okay. And then I assume was it a 3-point turn? You
Yes,
know what I'm talking? Okay. So it backed out and then headed out of presumptively, I guess, to leave the parking garage.
Yes.
Where were you in relation to that vehicle when it was backing out?
I was probably 50 yards or so away from it.
Okay. In what direction? Or I guess in what ultimate direction compared to where the vehicle was headed?
I was in the direction he needed to go to exit.
Okay. And the direction he ultimately did go?
Yes.
Okay. And when you first gave a command, what did you say?
I told him to get out of the vehicle.
Okay. And were his windows up or down?
Down.
Do you know if his radio was on or off?
Don't recall.
Do you know if his air conditioner was on or off?
Don't recall.
Do you know if it was in conversation? Do you know if there was a passenger in the vehicle?
Yes, there was.
Did you see the passenger?
Not much of them.
Okay. Do you know whether they were engaged in a conversation with the passenger?
No.
Did you see the gun at any point?
No.
At any point during your encounter with this Lincoln, did you see any firearm whatsoever?
No.
Did any individual in the Lincoln make any threats upon you at any point in time during this incident?
No.
Did they use their car in any way towards you that was threatening?
No.
Did they use their body, meaning like shaking a fist or anything like that was threatening?
No.
So at some point at what point, or I guess where was the Lincoln when you gave the command to was it get out of the vehicle?
Yes.
Okay. Tell me what you said and when you said it compared to where they were.
As he was approaching me, as soon as I saw that he matched the vehicle and him pretty much matched the description, I drew my weapon. He didn't come to a complete stop. He's still moving. His hand was under his leg. I couldn't see but one hand. Ordering him out of the vehicle. That's when he accelerated. I was probably 2-3 feet away from him
Okay. At what point?
when I ordered him out of the vehicle.
Okay. Was he moving at the time?
Yes.
Or I guess his vehicle.
Very
was moving
slow,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. Did you say anything else other than get out of the vehicle?
Nope, that's all I had time for.
Okay. And some of my questions are somewhat redundant, but you know how these depositions work and how
Yes,
lawyers
sir.
work. At any point during this encounter, did you say anything other than the one utterance of get out of the vehicle?
I believe that's all I got out.
Okay. Did you file any reports or charges against Mr. Jones yourself for resisting arrest or failure to obey commands or anything like that?
No.
Why not?
Once the city got involved, I allowed the city to do their charges.
Okay. Your report says playing with, and I think we've clarified you didn't see a gun, so you didn't see him playing with, exposing, waving, anything else related to a gun.
No.
Does it, and again, I know we're kind of in the area that I've talked about, but does it matter whether in an airport parking lot, whether someone is playing with or waving or exposing or bringing into view a firearm? Do you understand my question?
No.
Form.
Okay. Is playing with a gun more illegal than exposing a gun in an airport parking lot?
Check
No.
the form.
Okay, it's the possession that's the issue you take.
Yes.
Okay. Where did the Lincoln go?
He accelerated, struck curb that was in front of us. Then he accelerated through the toll booth. He knocked the arm off the toll booth and then headed out of the airport.
Okay. Is the toll booth, I assume the toll booth is for vehicles exiting.
Yes, sir.
That's where you stop and pay for your parking.
Yes.
Okay. And he didn't stop and pay for his parking?
No.
Okay. He just kept on going.
Yes.
In movies, those toll booths, like the wood shatters and it's dramatic. What happened here?
Form. Go ahead.
He knocked the arm off
Okay.
the toll booth.
Okay. And were there spikes?
No.
What, are you aware that his tires, the Lincoln's tires, were ultimately punctured?
Yes.
Okay. Did you see the tires get punctured?
I believe his tire got punctured when he hit the curb.
Okay. So there weren't spikes in the road that he
No.
ran over. It was just hitting a curb, then going over the toll booth,
Yes, sir.
or through the toll booth gate.
Yes.
Okay. He didn't hit the toll booth.
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Did anybody have to dodge out of his way while he was exiting?
Not that I'm aware.
Okay. Then what did you do?
I went back into the airport. I put out a description of the vehicle, direction of travel, then I went back to the terminal.
Do you recall what description you put out?
Silver Lincoln.
And what else?
I believe that was about all. Silver Lincoln, maybe a black male driver.
Okay. Did you ever see the person ultimately driving the Lincoln outside of the Lincoln?
No.
Did you ever see him walking around at any point?
No.
Did you report him walking around with a gun at any point?
No.
In your report, you indicate a black male driver and female passenger. Was that from your knowledge you saw that it was a female passenger, or was that from somebody else?
I could see from the neck down.
Okay. Referring to, I guess, page 2 of the report, it's to some degree in third person. Well, let me skip to a better question. The signature at the bottom, whose signature is that?
Mine.
Okay. And I know how writing reports work, but just to clarify, the report refers to Sergeant McCroskey. That is you.
Yes.
Do you write in third person?
Yes.
Why?
That's how we're instructed to write.
Very good. Makes it clear.
Yes.
Okay. What is your understanding of when it's appropriate to draw your duty weapon?
For my safety and the safety of the public.
Okay. What is your justification for drawing your duty weapon in this incident?
I had a report of a male with a gun.
Okay. Do you know if the gate needed to be repaired or if it could just be placed back on?
I don't know.
Once that threshold is crossed off of the airport, does that then become Daytona Beach Police jurisdiction?
Yes.
Does Volusia County have jurisdiction at that point?
Volusia County has jurisdiction anywhere in Volusia County.
Very good. Who is deputy register?
He was my deputy.
Okay. He was the other one at the airport at the time?
Yes.
And what was his role, to the extent you're aware, with this incident?
He came down from upstairs after the report. He was coming downstairs. The way it works is, as a plane arrives, deputy has to be upstairs. He was upstairs for the plane. When we got the report of the guy with the gun, he came down to assist. And after the guy took off and Daytona did their thing, he drove down to see if they need any assistance. There was plenty of people there. He turned around and came back.
Once the Lincoln left your line of sight, did you ever see it again?
No.
Did you ever see the driver again?
No.
You ever see the passenger again?
No.
Did you go to any other scene where you're aware that this encounter went through multiple scenes after this?
Yes.
Did you attend any of those scenes?
No.
Did you conduct any other investigation?
No.
Did you do anything else regarding that Lincoln, Marvin Jones, or Aviana Bailey after that vehicle left your sight?
No.
Do you plan to?
No.
Were any shots fired at Daytona Beach Airport?
No.
Your report references crime scene tape. Where was that placed?
I did not. Not on my report.
Okay.
That's it. That's deputy registered
Okay,
report.
I see. And that's a different signature. Okay.
Yes, sir.
At all times during this, were you on foot?
Yes.
Okay. Do you personally, where have you heard about this incident? Ultimately, I assume you know that there were shootings involved.
Yes.
Okay. Other than what you saw firsthand, Where else have you learned anything about this incident?
News Journal.
Okay. What else?
FDLE investigated it. That's pretty much it, I think.
Okay. Did you, as we sit here today, do you know the officers with Daytona Beach Police that were involved?
No.
Did you know personally at the time Officer Josh Mersereau, Officer Pearsall, or Officer Dill?
I know Pearsall when I was an investigator. I worked a case, but our contact was by phone.
Are you aware if you've ever been in the presence of Officer Josh Mersereau?
I don't believe I ever was.
Okay. Do you recall if you gave a deposition in this case, either to the FDLE or to the state attorney in the criminal case?
I think I gave a depo. I'm not sure though.
Have you conducted any other investigations or made any other arrests for people having a firearm in an airport parking lot?
I have not.
Okay. Are you aware if any of the officers under you have?
We've made arrests for weapons in the airport. And we've made one where there was a threat and the subject went to his car to get a weapon, but never retrieved the weapon.
Okay. Let me take a look at my summary and we may be about done. Did you ever hear the call that came in to dispatch?
No.
Did you or anybody under your command review any of the video of the suspect at any point?
I believe we did make we in the airport made a tape of him in the airport.
Okay. After this incident?
Yes.
Okay. With all of the tapes, did you review those tapes?
I don't recall if I did or not.
And I think I know this answer. Based upon your recollection, did you see a firearm in any of those tapes?
No.
Okay. To the extent somebody, do you know who Officer Warren is?
Officer Warren? Who's he work for?
I'm not even sure right now. It might be Daytona Beach.
No.
To the extent that there was a statement that Mr. Jones, the driver of the Lincoln, was, quote, running through the parking lot on foot. That's something you never saw.
No.
Was that right in front of the did this incident happen right in front of the pickup area?
Yes.
But in the parking lot?
He's in the parking lot, short-term parking.
Okay. Short-term parking, would you agree with me that short-term parking isn't like where like when you go pick up somebody and you don't park, you just kind of drive and pick them up? It's not that scene?
No.
Okay. Do you know whether dispatch correctly or incorrectly conveyed what you can, well, strike that. When you conveyed the message that this black male and this Lincoln is leaving the airport, who can hear that? Or who does that go out to?
Form.
That goes out across the channel. Whoever's monitoring the channel can hear it.
Okay, and what channels do you guys use?
We have an airport channel, and there's also a channel for that zone.
Okay. Do you recall which you put that out on?
No.
Before drawing your duty weapon, did you, again, these are kind of obvious questions, did you do any investigation on the driver?
No.
Did you do any investigation on the owner of the vehicle?
No.
Did you do any investigation to determine whether any surveillance cameras showed a gun being waved?
No.
You didn't have time to do any of that. You were just reacting. Fair?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know what Florida Statute 790.053 is?
No.
Can you cite a statute or code which you believe it makes it illegal to possess a firearm in an airport parking lot?
No.
What is your current status? That's vague. What is your, do you have plans to retire from Volusia County Sheriff's Office?
Yes.
What are those,
Uh,
generally?
Next year, May or June.
Okay. Do you plan to move out of the state of Florida?
Undetermined right now.
Fair enough. And how long have you served as law enforcement?
30 years.
Okay. Thank you for your time.
Okay.
I appreciate what you do, and good luck with retirement.
Thank you.
That's all the questions I have.
Sergeant, I have some questions. Again, I'm Bruce Bogan, and I represent the defendants in the case. First of all, counsel had asked you a number of questions about whether it's legal or illegal to possess a firearm at certain locations in the airport, and I want to ask you some questions about that.
Okay.
It's my understanding that obviously airports have a higher concern regards to people bringing weapons into the either the parking lot, the terminal, and of course we know you can never bring one onto an airplane. Correct?
Correct.
Objection.
The point being is that any time a call comes in that says that there's an individual either approaching an airport, inside of an airport, in an airport parking lot, and is involved with waving a gun or doing something with a gun, that's going to get your attention.
Yes, sir.
Objection.
And you would be derelict in your duties if a call came in saying that there was a person inside of the airport parking lot area waving a gun, and you said, we're not going to investigate that because we don't think that's a violation of the law.
Yes, sir.
Objection.
So you're always going to, investigate and approach a person which you believe to be the subject of such a report.
Yes, sir.
Objection.
And would you agree with me that on April the 28th of 2012, the person that you approached in that parking lot fit the description that you received from your dispatch communications?
Yes, sir.
And in fact, you would agree with me, you had probable cause to approach that individual and that car and at least investigate the claim that, or the report that came across the radio?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And would you agree with me that while I guess you can't point to a statute that says, oh, it's illegal to possess a gun in a parking lot, Daytona Beach International Airport actually probably posts a lot of signs and warnings in the area that don't bring weapons onto this property?
Objection.
Yes, sir.
Would you agree with me there isn't a law in the state of Florida that permits a convicted felon to possess a gun anywhere in the state at any time?
Yes, sir.
Objection.
Okay. And if in fact a convicted felon brings a weapon onto a airport property and has it in his car, he could be arrested for that, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, on the date of this incident, were you wearing a uniform just like you have on today?
Yes, sir.
This would be the standard Volusia County Sheriff's Deputy uniform that you would wear to work every day,
Yes, sir.
and easily identifies you as a law enforcement officer when you approach an individual, correct?
Yes, sir.
And based on what you're telling me and what you've told us here today, that on April the 28th of 2012, when you approached this individual, who we now know to be Marvin Jones, in the parking lot, you made eye-to-eye contact with him. Is that
Yes,
correct?
sir.
And he clearly observed you and could clearly see the uniform that you had.
Yes, sir.
In fact, you described here, I think you were within a matter of a few feet of his vehicle when you had your gun out and you ordered him to get out of the car, correct?
Yes, sir.
And it was apparently very obvious to you at that point, he heard you and could have obeyed your lawful command.
Yes, sir.
And had he obeyed your lawful command, and he really wasn't violating the law, and you had no reason to arrest him, then he would have been released and could have gone on his way. Would that be true?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now I would assume you would have probably perhaps asked him for some identification had he complied with your command.
Yes, sir.
And you would have tried to verify who he is.
Yes, sir.
And had you verified who he was and you realized that he had multiple felony warrants out of the state of Massachusetts for him, would you have in fact probably arrested him?
If they were extraditable warrants, yes, sir.
Okay, you would have at least taken him into custody, investigated whether the state of Massachusetts was interested in extraditing him back up there on those multiple felony warrants, and if they weren't, then Daytona would have let him go.
Yes.
All right. So, but you never, of course, got the opportunity to go that far in this case, correct?
Correct.
And it was very obvious that he saw you as a police officer, he wasn't going to obey your commands, and he fled, correct?
Yes.
And in fact, he fled in a manner which I think you described as speeding away from you, correct?
Yes.
And sped through the toll gate, the gate at the toll booth.
Yes.
Is that right? Now, at that toll booth, there is a toll booth operator, I'm assuming?
Yes.
And that individual is sitting in there, collecting tolls from cars as they come through there.
Yes, sir.
And obviously, if he speeds through a toll booth, that could potentially cause some danger to individuals that are in that particular area, correct?
Yes.
And of course, speeding through a toll booth and ramming through the gate, causing it to break off, is a potential hazard or a potential risk of harm to individuals that might be in that area as well.
Yes.
Objection.
So your observation was that when he accelerated through the toll booth, what caused him to sustain, damage to the tires on that vehicle was not a spike to the vehicle, but he hit a curb so hard that it punctured the tire?
Yes.
Okay. And it was one of the rear tires on the vehicle?
The curb he hit that was in front of me right when this started, I believe was a front tire. Not real sure. but he hit the curb in front of us. Then I don't know what curbs he hit when he went through the toll booth.
Okay. But in any event, you didn't see anything that would have caused a puncture to the tire other than a potential strike of the curb.
Correct.
The individual that was in the car, Mr. Jones, you indicated earlier that once he was, in fact, detained and taken into custody by Daytona Beach Police, you did not try and charge him with additional charges. At that point, I think you used the words that it was Daytona's case.
Yes.
And I think you've subsequent to that, learning that it was Daytona's case, you have learned that, in fact, Daytona did issue multiple charges against him stemming from this incident, correct? Yes. In fact, he was charged and convicted of attempted second-degree murder on a law enforcement officer, aggravated battery on a law enforcement officer with a gun, and fleeing and eluding with lights and siren on. And all three of those charges were brought by Daytona stemming from this initial encounter that happened after he fled, correct?
Correct.
And he was ultimately convicted of all three of those charges. Are you aware of that?
I was not.
Are you aware that he's now serving a 30-year prison sentence as a result of those three convictions stemming from that incident?
No, sir.
Now, counsel asked you earlier a question about whether or not you saw Marvin Jones, the individual we now know to be Marvin Jones, running through a parking lot. You recall that question?
Yes.
And I think your testimony is obviously the first time you saw him, he was actually inside of the vehicle in which he was driving the silver or gold-colored Lincoln?
Yes.
Okay. And at no time were you actually able to witness him outside of the vehicle?
No.
So you have no idea whether or not he ran or appeared to be running in the parking lot?
No.
Okay, I don't think I have any other questions. Thank you for your time today.
Just a few more questions. Do you know what speed he was traveling when he was approaching you?
After he backed out?
Correct.
He had slowed.
Okay. Do you know what speed he was traveling when he passed you?
When he accelerated?
Yes.
After he passed? No, but he accelerated.
Okay. Was the toll booth, did you ever speak to the toll booth operator?
No.
Okay. Do you know if they were harmed or threatened in any way?
No.
Are you aware that the initial 911 call was a false report?
No.
Objective form.
Did you, at the time you encountered Mr. Jones, were you aware of his prior criminal history in any way?
No.
Are you aware of who placed a firearm, to the extent there was a firearm in that vehicle, in his vehicle?
No.
Were you seeking to detain? You okay? You need some water or something? No. Okay. Were you seeking to detain Marvin Jones based on a report of a possession of firearm in an airport parking lot?
Objective form. Go ahead.
When you say detain, I was going to dispel any suspicions of him having a firearm on airport property.
Okay. Were you seeking, did you use force, did you draw your duty weapon based on a report of Marvin Jones or a subject in a similar vehicle possessing a firearm in an airport parking lot?
Yes.
Form.
That's all questions I have.
Okay.
No further questions.
Read or waive?
I'll wait.
Okay.
Thank you very much. This will conclude today's videotape deposition. Time is 9:50 a.m.